Cool, guys. Sorry that let me just make sure that I don't have any on here. Hello. Yeah. Hi. Okay, sorry for like kind of the weird angle. I have one phone charging here that I need right now. Welcome to the Intuitor, you guys. Yes. Fuck my shit up. Fuck my shit up, bitch. Let's see. There we go. Ta-da. Ta-da. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hi, you guys. Hello.
Recording in progress.
And welcome to the Intuitor. We have a very short episode today because I have to go and do ritual in 52 minutes. So I wanted to jump right into it today because I was putting out trailers this last week, and I put out one about Ariana Grande, and like I said last podcast, I was doubling down on Ariana Grande, and I got so many comments. People were like, I'm so disappointed in you. This is so mean. How can you say that Ariana Grande is fake? How can you say that she has an eating disorder? How can you say that Amanda Bynes or Britney Spears is on drugs? Like, how can you say anything? It's so unspiritual. Like, it's so mean. I'm so offended. First of all, like, I don't care if you're offended. Like, I don't get offended by things that other people do. I'm living my life, you guys. I've got shit to do. I've got places to go. Does this mean that my algorithm is trigger free? No. But I'm not going to let what somebody else does in their life drain my battery. I don't get disappointed in gurus. I don't get disappointed in celebrities. I don't get disappointed when you get disappointed in me. But like, your disappointment in me is not like my punishment. Like, I don't ever sit around feeling bad for not living up to my end of a bargain that I never made with you. Celebrities never made me a promise to be authentic, and I'm judging them. I'm just calling it like I see it. I'm like, bro, I definitely did that for a long time. Eating disorder, had that. Inauthentic, had that. Drugs, done those. Takes one to know one. It's only somebody on like the further that's never listened to my podcast, and it's fine because it's a natural filter. But it's like, we might be talking about celebrities here, but the one that's usually getting eviscerated is me. And when I eviscerate myself and say, like, you guys, I had rampant codependency, you realize, oh my God, I've also had rampant codependency. So it's the order in which things are getting cut is like, we open up the conversation with celebrity, and then it becomes about my experience with this. We could also just call this classic me projecting my issues on a celebrity. Totally. But there's no SEO in that. Those reels don't really look that fun. And I love pop culture. And this is what's going on in my brain anyway. So celebrities open the conversation. Then it comes to me and my major fucking problems, which then gets down to you and your major fucking problems. And we're all having a wonderful time here. But a big reason why I also started doing this podcast was to prepare myself for handling more fame. So if you guys are new here and you're just coming in for Intuitor Season 2, welcome. But let's talk about what fame is. And we're going to use today Chappell Roan as an example because a lot of people are, we talk about like the price of fame. You know, what does it cost to be famous? And is this price of fame negotiable? And it's not really that you're paying for fame. It's not like fame is a thing. Fame is a thing, kind of like the same way that you work for money, but it's just so normal. Like, this is what, if you want money, you need to have increased discipline, organization, and responsibility. Like, it's not really that big of a deal. And if you want to be famous, fame is attention. So when you're famous, people have their attention on you. And half of the time, that attention is great and wanted. Oh my God, Ariana Grande, she's so great. Half the time, it's unwanted because you are under a big microscope and everyone has a bad side. You guys, it is absolutely delusional to believe that people don't have bad sides. And the thing is like, is there any such thing as a bad side? I never said that Ariana Grande is bad for having an eating disorder. I said she's got an eating disorder. Clearly. Double down. This person's inauthentic. Clearly. Because somebody that licks donuts and say that they hate fat people, who is also wasting away, doesn't have Lyme disease. And you know what, guys? It's so funny because I live in like Lyme disease territory now. And like people don't really, the same way that people get this narrative about birth where they're like, oh my God, birth is so chaotic and traumatic and crazy because you've seen in movies that it's chaotic, traumatic, and crazy. And you're now convinced that that's what it is, and that your friends had a scary birth, and this, it's like, no. You've just never seen a beautiful birth scene in a movie. Like you've never once seen a beautiful birth scene in a movie. You've never seen how cool this actually is, that a human's coming through another human. Like that's fucking crazy. It's awesome. But a lot of people think that like Lyme disease is this major threat because every time a celebrity is like coming off of either opiates or meth, they always say that they have Lyme disease. Lyme disease is also like the most common misdiagnosed disease. Basically, if they don't know what it is, they're going to say that it's Lyme disease. And Lyme disease has like pretty specific things that you'll get, like Bell's palsy, partial facial paralysis, but it's like pretty friggin' treatable. But I live in New York, in upstate New York, you know, where it's like tick central. And so it's really funny because like everyone, I also, you know, grew up in Maryland. So there was a lot of ticks there. But people are like so convinced that Lyme disease is this like devastating illness because celebrities use it as a cover up for like either coming off of drugs or having an eating disorder. This person says, I heard you have higher rates for sex workers. I don't. You heard wrong. You watched that video's caption and didn't watch it. And are now like, oh, Nami's not living up to agreement she never made with me. I said that most sex workers end up paying double because they come into my school insisting that they want to be sex workers for the rest of their lives. Then we do a lot of work on alignment. And the majority of them say, you know what, actually this industry has been pissing me off and I've been very defensive over this. So now I want to do something different. We don't care what anybody does, but whether you're a drug dealer, a sex worker, if you have a listening problem, you're going to pay double because you have to stay twice as long to actually comprehend what I'm saying. So wake up, pay attention, and quit being a grundle in the YouTube comments when you could be learning something here. Second of all, if you're in denial about what it is that you want, then we can build a whole business around what you say you want. But if that's not what you truly want, then we're just going to have to rebuild. So if you're in this predicament where you're like, what if I don't know what I want? Then you should come and do ritual because it's really all about facing what it is that you want and grounding that with a price tag and accepting the responsibility that comes with it. But anybody that has a listening problem, anybody that is paying to sit here with their arms crossed and say, I don't know, I don't think about this, fucking do that while it's free. But don't fucking pay me unless you're open to learning because I can give the information, but you receiving it is going to be completely up to you. So make sure, they say in Zen, that you have to come with an empty cup. Don't come to the all-you-can-eat buffet with your little fucking Tobey Maguire lunch bag. Tobey Maguire used to come to my restaurant and bring his little fucking almond butter sandwiches and ask him to put it on a plate for us. It's like, bro, you want me to wipe your fucking butt too? Probably. Pale ass vegan motherfucker. Like, in the like nicest fucking restaurant too, making us put his weird little fucking Ziploc, not even Ziploc, you guys. It wasn't a Ziploc bag. It was a sandwich bag. You know, the kind that don't have like a zip where you like weird, like tuck and fold, like, oh. But so fame is people having their eyes on you. And if you are trying to create this version of you that doesn't have a bad side, that's rooted in your own inauthenticity. That's rooted in you believing that like if anybody saw your quote unquote bad side, that they would be so horrified that they would run away and leave you. People like this do really poorly with fame. And recognition is, you know, if we change, because a lot of spiritual people want to be famous, but we can't call it fame because they think it's shallow, it's too triggering for them. So we have to call it recognition. But recognition is recognition. You want recognition in your industry, you can expect to get recognized on the street. And nobody is saying like, hey, Chappell Roan, we want to fuck your brains out. We want to murder you. We want to do that. They're saying like, hey, you're Chappell Roan. And if you really like stopped and paused and said like, hey, you know, what's the deal? They're probably going to tell you that they're fans of yours, that they like you, that they think it's great. Does this mean you have to take time for every single one of these people? No, but it's easier to say like, hi, thank you so much. Thank you for your recognition. Thank you for your attention, and keep it moving than it is to get pissed about it, to walk off pissed, to be irritated, and then to spend all of your energy, because now she's just like fighting people off. So it's not that like the price of fame should be negotiable, or is there a price of fame and it's outdated and we shouldn't have to pay it. It's that like fame is fame. Fame is eyes on you, and this is an asset, but you can't say fame is eyes on my good side only. You can't say that. Every single person has flaws, and your flaws are really here to work for you. So when you're down with your flaws and you can talk about it, you're bulletproof. You don't care. But anybody that's famous, you don't just like people worked for it. Chappell Roan worked for it for a really long time. Ariana Grande worked for it for a really long time. And the whole time it's like, what are you working for? Be careful what you wish for. Nobody has ever been told that fame means that everybody's going to like them. Nobody has ever been told that making $1 million in business, if you're an entrepreneur, is easy. No one's ever been told this. You've been told it's work, it's recognition, there's eyes on you. You can't please everyone. Not anyone is going to like you. And when you can handle this, it is the most beautiful thing in the world. Nobody's naturally handling it. You learn how to have a lot of eyes on you. You learn how to behave independently of the public eye. That whether the public loves you or hates you, you're the same. That whether the public says we love you or we can't stand you, you're the same. That your self-worth is not connected to what strangers think about you. Now, regular people aren't trained to handle this, and most people are really afraid of success because they're like, oh my God, what if people disagree with me? What if people disapprove of me? A lot of people have the chakras confused on this too. Like, I'm scared to speak out. It must be my throat chakra blocked. That's not the case. I'm scared of visibility. This must be my Anya chakra. It's none of that. You're not afraid of visibility. You're not afraid of opening your mouth. You're afraid of rejection. You're afraid of rejection. You're afraid of opening your mouth and it being rejected. You're afraid of being wealthy and being rejected by your punk friends. You're afraid of coming out and saying, I struggle with an eating disorder, and being rejected by people. And they say, I don't love you anymore. You're not who I thought you was. Who you thought I was is none of my fucking business. I don't care. I couldn't be less interested in something. I could not be less interested in your expectations of me, what you've thought about me, who you hoped I would be, who I remind you of. Like, none of this has anything to do with how I live my life. Independently of the opinions of others, I proceed doing what feels right for me based on what it is that I like, knowing that I can have bad sides and still be deserving, knowing that my bad side is still deserving of love, that I can make a massive, huge public mistakes over and over and still be worthy. Like, none of this matters to me. There's nothing anybody could say about me ever that's worse than the things that I've said to myself. There is nothing anyone could even come up with in their wildest fantasy that would be half as bad as the things that I've ever said to myself. None of this is shocking to me. Like, none of this is new to me. And so everybody that's working towards fame knows that this is what they're getting themselves into. Yeah, of course, you don't realize how hard it is until it's there. But once you put the work in, your results are a gift from your efforts. And so if you've worked for 10 years like Chappell Roan to be famous, and now say, ooh, I don't like fame anymore, you're going to have to undo 10 years of you saying that it is something that you wanted to do. And it's so much easier to let something in than to try to fight something off, because whatever you let in, whatever you accept is a part of you. Whatever you reject is your opponent. Chappell Roan's going to be in a fucking fight with the internet for the rest of her life. She's going to look old as fuck when she's young as fuck if she keeps carrying down this path. And that's just like not what fame is. Are there deranged fans? Yeah. I deal with them. You guys, I have some cuckoo, and I don't really like the word fans because I'd like to think of everybody as my students, but I get some very strange people, women that are like, if we were just friends, we would be best friends. And men are like, you and I have a spiritual destiny together. We're supposed to be together. I'm in love with you. I'm supposed to be your husband. Please just let me come to your door. I want to be a parent to your children. And you're like, okay, like this is part of it. This is part of visibility. This is part of recognition. But these fears that you have about being famous aren't coming from a block in, I can't speak up. It's not coming from a block of, I don't want people to see me. It's a fear of being rejected. It's a fear of people seeing the bad side that you've convinced yourself is so unlovable that you have to get it away from you. You being convinced that you have to keep this side of you under wraps because it'll be rejected. This is the heart chakra, and the heart chakra is the home of authenticity. Authenticity is a prerequisite for sustainable fame. If you're authentic, you're going to handle fame really, really well. You're going to handle fame really, really well. You will be uncancelable. You will be fun to be around. You will be great to your fans. You will positively uplift all people. You will not have sneaky, creepy addictions. You will be a constantly improving and more famous version of yourself. You will be grounded. You will be balanced. You will have a lot of money. You will create generational wealth. All of this from the ability to be down with your bad side. To not need everybody to say nice things about you all the time. It's really just that simple. And so people that are like, oh my God, Ariana Grande would be so hurt if she read this. I posted that video 3 fucking times because I hope she does read it. You know why? Because I know what it's like to be fake. And I know for somebody that's actually struggling with this, they're going to be like, oh my God. Thank you for solving this problem for me. People that haven't struggled with eating disorders, that haven't struggled with inauthenticity, that haven't struggled with perfectionism, they're like, that's so mean to say that people struggle. I'm from Potomac, Maryland. I don't know what it's like to struggle. And you're like, bro, it's okay. No, you cannot ask me something. So it's okay to have a bad side. And fame is being able to hear all sides of yourself. Fame is being able to have people not like you, but just because other people don't like you, it doesn't mean that you're rejecting yourself. Fame is always going to be an equal cut. 50% of people are going to like you. Nice, right? 50% of people are not going to like you. 50% of people will go, wow, she's famous. 50% of people are going to go, oh my God, she's infamous. The famous train and the infamous train are going to the same platform. All right? The same platform. It doesn't matter. So here's some celebrities that I think handle fame really nicely. Miley Cyrus handles fame very nicely. Did she wobble a bit? Has she been in the public eye basically her whole life? Does she have mad boundaries now? Yeah, totally. Like when she was, coming of age, smoking salvia, the internet's calling her fat and stuff. She was a kid, she didn't know how to deal with it, but she stayed really authentic, stayed true to herself. And now something that I love so much when I hear Miley Cyrus talk is she talks about, I'm always great to her fans, doesn't have the password to her Instagram. She doesn't care, independent of the opinions of others. I proceed, she goes. Takes really, really good care of herself. And something that I love about her is that she really just understands that it's a job. And it's so cool when you hear her say, like, I've been doing this for 20 years. Like, here's the shit I don't take. Here's the shit I don't tolerate. So I love the way that she handles fame. I don't think Blake Lively is handling her fame very well right now because she's literally throwing a bitch fit. We'll talk about that in a minute. This is somebody that you might not know, but one of my favorite people that handles fame ever is Emily Weiss, who is the CEO of Glossier. Glossier's sales went up 80% in the last 3 years. That's fucking awesome, considering that all of the other like girl boss icons got canceled and accepted it. So like Audrey Gelman from The Wing, the lady from Reformation, Sophia Amoruso from Nasty Gal and Girl Boss. There was one from Man Repeller. I forget what that lady's name was, but she was super cool. All of these ladies that were kind of heading up this really, really cool movement. Or it was called like the girl boss movement, when they're on the cover of Forbes 30 under 30, when they're all pictured together in Vogue, it's all great, blah, 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 blah. And then the reports start coming in that this is a toxic workplace. That a brand new company that goes from zero to like billions of dollars in revenue doesn't have it completely figured out yet. What's the truth? Yeah, you don't have it completely figured out yet. You got super successful, super fast, with tons of press, with no training on something like this. It's a brand new company. You didn't know. You hired the wrong people. You made mistakes. You tried to see and help everybody. Everybody was trying to help everybody, and it didn't work. What's the fucking truth? Because this is the whole thing with authenticity. It's just saying like, look, what's the truth? What's the truth? And ultimately, the truth of everybody is that I'm not perfect. So stop trying. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Mistakes were made. Mistakes are growth. Mistakes are learning. We can honor that we've made mistakes. I've made tons. That's authenticity. Just being down with the fact that you made mistakes and not being like, oh my God, I deserve to be punished forever because I said one stupid thing. You guys, I talk all day, every single day. You know how much shit I've said? Like, bro, I've always been a talker. So believe me, I've said things I regret. For sure. For sure. Oh my God. I hope that nobody is ever writing down everything that I say, considering the hearing problems most people have as well. But I've made tons of mistakes. So, but it's really funny because all of these like girl bosses were totally fine being in the limelight as long as people were talking nicely about them. And then a little bit of criticism comes out. We're talking 10 years in the limelight of praise, praise, praise. And then the criticism comes and they just couldn't fucking handle it. Sophia Amoruso is still on like fucking Xanax and stuff talking and is still trying to be like, yeah, I've processed it. But her feelings are still so fucking hurt. She's so fucking offended that people said that her business wasn't perfect. She had 10 years of people saying, this is a perfect business. You're a genius. How'd you do it? And she's like, the truth is, I don't really know how I did it. 50% of it was cool. 50% of it was accident. When I try and replicate it, I realized that it was kind of lucky that it worked in the first place. And now I need to grow to actually figure out how to make it work on purpose. Spiritual law. Listen well, because this is a spiritual law. There's no getting out of this. Wherever success occurs on accident, it inevitably destroys itself. If your first business succeeded accidentally, it will inevitably destroy itself, usually when you're trying to duplicate it, scale, or grow. Autoerotic Wealth, our workshop, Autoerotic Wealth, and there's also a couple with one, Erotic Wealth, is how to create success on purpose, which is not a possibility for you if you don't have the data of like the accidents that contributed to your first business not working in the first place. It's making a business that's built to last, but you can't speculate what a perfect business is going to be. You kind of have to get out there and do what they call like failing forward. But all of these CEOs stepped down because they just couldn't handle people saying that they weren't perfect. And to me, that's so stupid, but not Emily Weiss. Emily Weiss is my fucking girl because of this. Emily Weiss was just like, no, I'm sorry. I understand that you might not like how my business runs, but my business has made me $1 billion and I built that shit from the ground up. And sorry, like you can't have it. You being displeased with me doesn't mean that I'm displeased with me. You saying that I shouldn't be rich doesn't mean that I give you my money. You saying that I'm bad at running my business doesn't mean that I step down from my business. Sorry, no. I love that from her. She's from Connecticut. She started working at Ralph Lauren when she was like 15 years old. I read her book. a book that was trying to be like a smear on her. And it's so hard because even if a journalist comes after you to write a whole ass book about how problematic you are, that book, you cannot deny that this woman is fucking cool. Like, there's not really that much dirt. Oh, she made mistakes starting a brand new business that scaled into the $1 billion mark really fast. Okay. If it was a man, you know how often men do this? And men don't apologize like that because they're like, yeah, whatever, progress. Got to break eggs to make an omelet, no problem. But the women, nobody's writing these fucking books about, and it's really strange to me when women do it to women because it's like, are you covering the men to this degree, or it's just easier to like rag on the ladies? Let's be fucking real here. But Emily Weiss started working. What everybody says about Emily Weiss was that she was just really good at asking for what she wanted. So she's like 15 and babysitting for her neighbors in Connecticut, and the dad works at Ralph Lauren, and he's like, hey, do you want another babysitting shift? And she's like, I'd honestly rather intern at your company. So at 15, she starts interning at Ralph Lauren. Then she ends up on the Hills for a couple episodes because she's such a good intern that she ends up on the Hills when, you know, Blonde and Blonde go to New York or whatever to work at Teen Vogue. By that time, she's like 17 and knows the ropes so well because she's just showed up at work like every single day doing her thing. She's got an amazing work ethic. Her results are gifts from her effort. And she's like, look, yeah, I've been putting work in to build Glossier since I was literally 15 years old, observing beauty trends in the fashion industry and trying to come up with some way of putting it all together. Every single day I took steps towards this. So I'm really, you know, if in 2021 you guys are so mad at me and you're canceling all the girl bosses, like, cancel them all you want, but you can't cancel me. You cannot be canceled. You cannot be canceled. What you can be is sensitive to criticism and self-canceling. Nobody can cancel you. And if you're the type of person, if you're Rihanna energy that's like, fucking be pissed at me all you want. I'm not moving. Be pissed at me all you want. I'm not moving. Anti has been on the Billboard charts for longer than any other album in history. She's like, look, you guys can question my methods all you fucking want, but you cannot question my results. So, and people that are trying to cancel you are only ever questioning your methods. They're not doing anything. So you cannot be canceled. Stop being afraid of it. It can't happen to you. But authenticity is what it takes to be able to handle fame. And people that are, they're like, oh my God, Ariana Grande is wasting away in front of the public eye, and why don't we all feel sorry for her? Because she's fucking fake. She's not facing at any point the bad side that people are saying about her. People are like, oh, you're so mean to Ariana Grande. Well, I never fucked I never fucked my friend's husband and then stole them away and then wrote a song called The Boy Is Mine. That's fucking mean. That's fucking mean, I would say. I've never done that. So everybody's got a bad side, and your bad side is here to work for you. So this is a really appropriate time to, you guys know I always put the commercial breaks in here for my own product. If you start your own podcast, immediately hold space for the commercial breaks. Nobody can say that you sold out if you sell out from the beginning, baby. Yeah, that is fucking mean, right? My workshop Fuckless. I didn't know that so many people wanted, I didn't really think of myself as being authentic. I thought of myself as being like a loose cannon. And I am very authentic because I know what it's like to live a lie. But then my boyfriend died and I was just like, I don't have the energy to be fake anymore. So there wasn't an option. Like the fake me died. It tried to come back to life a little bit when I really needed money. And I'm like, please let me be your business coach. Like, I've got my shit together. I promise. Ignore my shaved head. I'm having a meltdown. I swear. But after that, and when I realized that if I presented a false version of myself, I attracted people that weren't in alignment with me. You present a false version of yourself, you attract people that aren't in alignment with you. You build an audience on a fake version of you, they're going to go away the second that you're being real. People can't love a fake version of you, and all performances end. You'll never be able to sustainably just be one fake person, because as you decide that that person is outgrown and that person is outgrown and that person is outgrown, it's kind of like bleaching your roots. Like, you can keep bleaching your roots to be platinum blonde. And I think this looks great on so many people. But for me, I'm like, dude, I keep fighting nature and nature keeps winning over and over and over again. I'm just going to keep bleaching my roots and bleaching my roots and bleaching my roots to like be blonde. To me, I'm like, I can't wrap my head around that. And I've been blonde twice. And most times I shaved my head afterwards and had to face the reality of what I actually looked like without my perfectly curated beauty, or what I thought would make me more appealing to people. So all performances expire. So I didn't realize until I asked people a few years ago, like, you know, what is one thing that you really want to learn from me? And everybody was saying authenticity. And I was like, oh, you know, like that's pretty simple, because I have a formula for this, a specific objective formula backed by an Enneagram, backed by years of research of like how to be authentic like you. Because authentic like me isn't going to work. And then I started to realize that like I knew a lot of people that were authentic, and I even knew of some authenticity workshops, a masterclass here and there, but none of them were objective. It was basically someone saying, here's how I became authentic, but how that's subjective. Like that only worked for that one person. There's not an objective look into the trauma that's keeping you from being actually objective. There's no way to measure what authentic looks like for you. There's not, it needed to be like formulaic, something that you could test and something that you could really like hold in your hands. So I created Fuck This, which started off as just the objective 10 step path to authenticity. But I realized that so many people didn't want to just be authentic. They wanted to be authentic online because they were running businesses online and they wanted better content and they wanted to be able, and it turned into this whole huge business workshop, which I now call the complete guide to passive income. To me, passive income is only passive if sending people to that product is also easy, also becoming passive, also natural. So if you are using social media for sales and it's not natural, it's not authentic, it's always going to be work and it's never going to work. And if it's always work and it never works, it's going to seem like a really good idea to just put ad budget to it, but that's still not going to work because people don't buy from people they don't know. And if you're not being real, people don't see you, connect with you and say, oh, this person's trustworthy, because you've got all of these layers that you think people need to like you more. So you're paying to send people to a fake version of you that they cannot trust and cannot buy from, in the hopes that they'll be inspired enough by seeing your ad that they'll want to stick around and get to know you. Like, what if anyone could just know you immediately? Who you see here on the internet, if you ran into me on the street, if you saw me in an Uber, if you saw me waiting for fucking 3 hours on the tarmac on an American Airlines flight because it was delayed, you're gonna get the same me. You know me like this. If I've just met you, I'll tell you that my vag is leaking and it smells weird because I'm pregnant. Like, if it's going on in here, it's coming out of here. I will talk to literally everybody like they are my best fucking friends. Anthony, I'll answer that question in a second. Like, they're my best fucking friends. Someone here says, have you dealt with friends or family that didn't want me to succeed? Yes. My entire family did not want me to succeed. You know what the truth is? We all have a different definition of what abusive is. I say growing up in a doomsday pedophile sex cult with corporal punishment and psychological abuse was abusive, and it's taken me a long time to be okay. The rest of my family says, I'm fine, it wasn't that bad. We all have, I'm not saying they're wrong. And if they say I'm wrong, I'm not saying they're wrong either. That's fine. We have different definitions of abuse. None of them wanted me to succeed. But how I dealt with the loss of friends and family, and I lost all of my friends when I started being authentic. They wanted a drunk punk, and I was different. I was changing. Had I been a drunk punk for them for the last fucking 12 years? Yes. Did they think that was the real me? Yes. Did I not tell anybody where I came from? No, I never told anybody where I came from. So how could they know that wasn't the real me? It wasn't their fault. I'm not mad at them. But when I became the real me, they all dropped by the wayside. When I became the real me, my entire family disowned me. My entire family disowned me. There was a few clinger-ons that's like, no, we haven't disowned you. We don't like what you're doing. As long as you don't talk to us about what you're doing, we can be in a relationship. I'm just going to pretend you're not doing that. And maybe it'll be okay. Then I started getting famous. Those relationships inevitably expired. So how did I continue when everybody that knew me was saying, you're fucking up big time? I learned that I could be better friends, more myself, closer with anybody that crossed my path ever than I ever was with these people that I was fake with. And I made a promise to just not do it again, because you don't realize how heavy it is to put on a different personality for every single person you meet. You don't realize how heavy this is. You don't realize how heavy it is to have somebody give you criticism and you're thinking and thinking and thinking of what the nice spiritual response you could give to them so they won't know that you're a human, and you're like, you're a fucking bitch, actually. Looks like you're just being a fucking bitch. What's the truth? You're being a bitch. All right, no problem. I don't care if you think it's unspiritual. Burn. Oh, you're so unspiritual. Ouch. How will I live? You know, oh my God, if you stop following me, what am I going to do? Like, I just genuinely don't care. I'm busy. I'm doing me. I'm working on myself. I got fucking problems. You clearly have problems too. All right, cool. Let's both go work on our problems. You can be mad at me. I don't think about you at all. So let's just all move forward here. It's so heavy to be fake, and it's so freeing to be real. All sides of you are true, the good sides and the bad side, and being down with the fact that all possible realities of you can be true and can exist at once. This is what it means to be authentic. And when you're authentic, you're not scared of people rejecting you because you aren't who they thought you were going to be. Like, you don't owe that to anybody. So let's just rapid fire. I have to tell you guys a couple things because I have to go. We talked for a long time about this, but my workshop, Fuckless, is the objective step-by-step path to authenticity. That's not going to be officially launching until like January, February, March, until March. But if you're just interested in the authenticity side and you're not interested so much in the business side, you can just get the book, which is only the authentic part. It's meant to be, along with the workshop, but it's literally like $12 on Amazon. You'll get some really, really cool stuff in there, and you'll love it. You can also get it. You can also get it for free if you want. If you don't want a paperback version. Oh wait, can you get it for free? You might be able to get it for free. If you got it for free, it's an accident that door is still open, and I will be closing it too. But go to mommyonami.com, go to where it says workshops, and go to Fuckless. If the ebook and the audiobook is still free, I think the ebook's like 80 pages and the print book's like 140 pages. If you get the ebook or the audiobook for free, good on you. If not, go to Amazon. You'll get you'll get all the authenticity lessons. Okay, rapid fire. Lively versus Baldoni. I don't know who's right. The look of that movie alone is so disturbing. And I understand, I've felt like Blake Lively was allergic to serving for a very long time. She's always been like, I don't have a stylist. I'm like, girl, we know, like, we can tell, we can see. This is, I understand that it's like Taylor Swift's core, who's also allergic to serving. I understand that this is like Stanley Cup chic, and that people that, aren't really into what fashion can be are like, wow, you look so pretty. Very male gaze, boring ultimately. And it's fine. Whatever. I'm not saying that I'm like at the cutting edge of fashion. You guys see me in t-shirts and sweatpants all the time. But her aesthetic for that movie, I felt like was completely off. Because somebody that's being abused doesn't usually have a good sense of self-expression. self-expression comes through and fashion comes through and art comes through and creativity. And when you're being abused, your self-worth is so low that you can't possibly create or express yourself in any way. So without even seeing that movie, I'm like, that wardrobe is totally off. Now, I don't care anything about this movie. I didn't know who Justin Baldoni was before. And these two are going to go back and forth the way that fucking rich people can. You know, the way, and no shade to rich people, because I am a rich person. I'm officially a self-made millionaire, you guys. Ka-ching. But I can't believe, well, I'm officially not a self-made millionaire. We did like 866, but it's close enough for me to not care about being a self-made millionaire anymore. So I can be in integrity with that. 866K, that's pretty good. But that's on very high margins. So ta-da, with no ad spend, ta-da, ka-shong. But Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni are going to be duking it out because this is what's important to them and yada, yada, yada. But here's just one thing I've known about for a long time with Blake Lively is that her, and if we go to the archives, her and Leighton Meester on Gossip Girl. Let me just tell you about Blake Lively by telling you about Leighton Meester. Leighton Meester was born in prison. Leighton Meester was born in a Texas prison. She grew up dirt poor, white trash, was literally born in prison. Her mom had to go to a halfway house to breastfeed her for 3 months before going back to prison. She was in prison on drug charges, but it was weed. It wasn't like, Texas. It wasn't like meth. A drug ring from Jamaica to Texas was probably pretty cool, to be honest. It was in the 80s. But Leighton Meester was literally born in prison, no privilege whatsoever, and somehow landed the role on Gossip Girl. Blake Lively is like a thoroughbred Nepo baby. And if you think about the people that are like coming to her defense, like Gwyneth Paltrow, another blonde, thoroughbred, but very authentic Nepo baby. Just like, and, that's cool. I think everyone's entitled to their time in the sun. But Leighton Meester was kind of like Kendrick Lamaring it, and Blake Lively was kind of like Draking it. And Leighton Meester is like, look, she's just not like us. Like, she's just kind of different, entitled, bitchy, whiny, wants everything to be about herself, throws fits, super hard to work with, not really that pleasant to be around, is just kind of a spoiled brat, to be honest. That was so long ago on Gossip Girl. So without knowing anything, like I've seen, I know the court docs just keep coming and coming. He said, she said, I'll be really interested to see how it all shakes out. But I would also call inauthenticity being sober and selling alcohol. She started off with her like Betty Buzz or whatever, non-alcoholic cocktails. I was like, cool, you don't drink? Good job contributing to the non-alcoholic market. Her husband owns Aviation Gin, totally fine. But she was like pretty loud and proud about not drinking. And I think it's really crucial when people that don't drink like me tell you that it's the secret to their success, for sure, because it's important to know that you can be sober and cool and sober and successful, and that some people just wouldn't be successful if it wasn't for sobriety. But then she puts out Betty Booze, and I just think it's so stupid when people are anti-drinking but want other people to drink because it pays them. To me, that's just like out of integrity. That's weird. I'm not into it. And that was the same. Someone said, oh, cover Lana Del Rey. I did cover Lana Del Rey, but I've never been a Lana Del Rey stan. So all I did in my Lana episode was analyze her lyrics. And I'm like, yeah, this person clearly has a drinking problem. This person clearly has like a massive drinking problem, but all of her problems will go away. She won't be dealing with any of this stuff when she gets sober. Turns out Lana Del Rey has been sober since 2003, but still writes about drinking. And I'm like, girl, that's also stupid to me, because your fans are sitting around getting drunk and hanging out in abusive relationships when this isn't something that you do anymore. Like, you should let them know that if they want what you have, don't do what you're saying to do in your music. This is your creative expression. Fuck off. Like, if Tom Waits can build an entire career talking about being like a blue collar booze hound and then get sober and change his messaging to reflect which is actually going on with him. So it kind of sucked, because I was like, yeah, okay, I'm super wrong about Lana Del Rey. Sorry for thinking that your music had anything to do with you. But now I'm like, ew, Lana, I don't trust anything that comes out of your mouth, and it's fine. I don't need to trust you. my trust in you doesn't make you a good or a bad person. All I'm saying is that if you can write album after album about getting drunk and being in an abusive relationship, and this is validating your whole fan base being drunk in an abusive relationships, like, and none of that's been true for you since 2003, like, girl, what? Because no amount of being drunk and in abusive relationships is going to lead to you being sober and in stable relationships. So, like, why would you send them? I don't know about all that. But Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni are going to go back and forth on their he says, she says. And all I'm saying is, like, this is not the first time that people have said that Blake Lively does stuff like this. But Blake Lively's best friend is Taylor Swift, and best friend is Gwyneth Paltrow, and all of these blonde girls have figured out the art of a rock solid PR team when they're allowed to just let enough of their bad side out, but that you will be absolutely fucking cease and desisted until the end of your life if you try and say something off narrative about them. And what I love about this era of social media, people are like, don't be mean to Ariana Grande. Shut the fuck up. It's not mean. Second of all, I love this era of social media because it used to just be like, people could say, oh, did you know that Justin Baldoni's the bad guy? And there was no place that we could all be like, let's just look at some receipts here. Let's just share some receipts here. I understand that this news outlet is saying this and that this news outlet is saying this. But let's just share receipts here. Let's like pass the duchy a little bit here and let's just see if we agree on this. I love it that now the public has a place to decide how they feel about it. And for me, this is the most interesting era of fame. For me, this is such a time to be alive. And I just want to say one more thing because I really have to go. I have to teach ritual in 6 minutes. But Justin had people working on TikTok paging his narratives in the algorithm. And everybody's like, bots, bots, bots. To me, that's just a cop-out. I refuse to play into this like bots thing. So yeah, they're both, he worked with the PR team that destroyed Amber Heard. Yeah, you know, I'm sure. He's got receipts, she's got receipts, but also he's got receipts, they're both wrong. If an argument lasts for more than 5 minutes, both of them are wrong. So they're both wrong. And I'm just really interested to see where the public falls on all of this, because we've seen some really cool like defamation trials, Depp versus Heard. All these things I think are really interesting because it doesn't matter what the court decides. Even Luigi Mangione, like it doesn't matter what the news outlets say and it doesn't matter what the courts decide. The people are a voice now, and the people are ultimately what cuts all of these other checks. So the public opinion of you is ultimate. Like it's very interesting. But on that note, nobody can cancel you. You can always double down on it. But let me tell you this very essential piece of PR. If there has been a lack of trust, let's say that your image has been dragged on the media, you need to face it head on. Like you need to face it head on. You cannot talk your way out of something you behaved your way into. You can't hope it goes away. And if you want a good episode on this, the Ariana Grande PR botch job one from last season, we really talked about this as it relates to the speed of trust. But you have to face it head on. You have to look at, you can't hope it goes away and you can't avoid the topic. Face it head on. Mistakes were made. I'm not perfect. I accept this. It's cool. So that is, that's how I feel about it. But just heads up, when it's like, who do you side with when it comes to Lively versus Baldoni? My bro, I side with Leighton Meester, and I always have. And there was a sex tape that was released of Leighton Meester way back when in the Gossip Girl era, and you know what it was? A foot job. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? I was like, a foot job? Like, how do you do that? Fucking sick, right? A foot job? Damn, you freaky too, and cool. Damn, that's awesome. So I side with Leighton Meester. I have 2 minutes, so I get to just say one more thing to you guys. Giselle Pelicot, the woman that was date raped by her husband and 52 of his friends. She's 71. I think the most important statement of 2024. I'm so surprised that this woman came to this clarity so quickly after accepting her sexual abuse. is this statement that shame has to switch sides. That shame has to switch sides. If you have ever experienced any type of sexual trauma whatsoever, I want you to write this on your fridge because it is the most powerful antidote. You've got nothing to be ashamed of. You didn't do that. You were a victim of something. It happened to you, and they should be ashamed of it. And they should be ashamed of that, not you. Don't take any of that shame on. Fucking dump it on their laps. You fucked that up. Go on Reddit, go on Feelings Room, go anywhere anonymous and talk about what happened to you, and talk about what happened to you, and talk about what happened to you until it is so fucking obvious in your mind that you were a victim of something and that the shame is on them. Don't go to therapy. Don't take ayahuasca. Tell your fucking story 10 times until the shame switches sides. Because shame always comes with one little rule. Don't talk about it. Don't let anybody know this is going on within you. And it festers and it builds and you get crazy and you can't let it go. And the whole time you're shaming and blaming yourself. Shame has to switch sides. Shame has to switch sides. And if you tell your story of being shamed, of having something shameful happen to you, if you tell your story 10 times, it'll get shorter every single time. By the 10th time, you'll be at acceptance. Tell your fucking story. And if you need an additional resource, go to mommyonami.com, youtube.com/mommyonamihouse, or just search Mommy Onami Shame on YouTube. You will find my video on how to heal from shame and sexual trauma. It's 20 minutes of education followed by a 20-minute process. You're going to feel a lot fucking better after this. I have to go. My class is starting in 1 minute. I will see you guys, Ritual. Thank you guys so much for being here on the Intuitor. I will see you next Friday. The sizzle has always been real here. Love you mucho. Love you long time. Bye, everybody.
Recording
see you later.
stopped.
Bye, YouTube. Bye.